All right. Hello to those of you who are already here. Just getting all of our live feeds set up. Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's get this out of the way. Good morning, everybody. Just getting everything ready for our Distance Learning Central Hub Q&A. If you're watching on Instagram or Facebook and you want to jump on the Zoom meeting, the link will be in our bio shortly if it's not there right now. And it's just really good to see all of you, even though I'm not seeing you. I feel like I'm seeing you.
We can see you.
So if at any point you have comments, if you have questions, if you're in the Zoom meeting or on Instagram or Facebook, write your questions in the comment section or the chat section if you're on Zoom. We've got several different people keeping an eye on that. And all of the questions will funnel into the Zoom meeting. So that's the order that they'll be answered in. We'll keep everybody muted in the Zoom meeting. So we're going to primarily use the chat, just so everybody is aware of how this is going to work. So we've still got a few more minutes as we get up and rolling here. And for safety, I have to admit everyone to our Zoom meeting. So if I pause and look to this way, that's what I'm doing. If I look this way, this is my second monitor over here. So, and I'm in my laundry room, by the way. This is my home office in the laundry room. So, second monitor here, laptop here, coffee over there. We are ready to go. All right, so as people are coming in, I'll be trying to let you in as quick as possible. On Zoom, I'm going to share my screen. And if you're watching on Instagram or Facebook and you want to join the Zoom meeting, you can, the link is in the Instagram bio or on the event, the Facebook event. There is a link to the Zoom. Okay, so I see there's a question already from Jeff in the chat, so thank you. Actually, it's not from Jeff, it's from, hey, how are we doing? And I will try to be careful with who I let into the Zoom. We're being really, really cautious about that. So if I don't recognize your username and I don't let you in, don't take it personal. Maybe just change your username to a name instead of like a number or some people just have a random assigned one, so that would be helpful. All right, so it's almost 10 o'clock here. So if you're on the social feeds, please use the comment sections of those to submit your questions. And those questions will get funneled to the Zoom chat. Selena, I know you're watching on both, so if you can help me, and if you see a question come through those, please put it in the Zoom chat, and we'll get to those as quick as we can. I do not have all the answers. Let me say that up front. So there could be a lot of questions today that we just kind of add to our repertoire of things we're trying to get better at. If you haven't read the blog by our Director of Learning Innovation, Carol Morin, yet, it's called Beginners Together. It's just a really good reminder of really the season that we're in. And we're all just learning so much so fast. And so thanks for your patience with that, and we'll hopefully try to get your questions answered as quick as possible. And then we'll also be here for as long as needed as well. And then we are doing another one at 1 p.m. So that if you have any other questions there. All right, so I'm going to share this on Zoom. So all right, so it's 10 o'clock, so welcome everybody. I'm going to say this over and over again, but if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section. And then we're going to transfer those over to the Zoom meeting that's happening. If you want to join the Zoom meeting, the link is in the Instagram bio, our Instagram bio, or on the Facebook event. The link is on there as well. I do have to admit people as they're coming in, so if I don't snag you right away, I apologize for that, but we'll try to get as quickly as possible. Selena, I wonder if I can add a co-host. That'd be great too. Let's check into that. All right, so if you're on Zoom, or if you're watching on the social, I'm gonna be at the hub, which is www.zcs.org/distance-learning. Or you can just go to zcs.org, and then right in the menu at the top is the distance learning hub link right there. So as questions are coming in, I'm just going to do a quick overview of the hub. Hopefully you've all had a chance to look over it a little bit and get a feel for it. But yeah, so this is the hub. And if you want to read more about why we're doing this, the vision and design link is right here. And then as we come down to kind of the portal section, you'll see right at the top is family support. And I'm going to start here and show that a lot of really the intention with the family support was what are the common issues that we had when we were setting it up, and what are the common issues that parents have had who've used either Seasaw or Google Classroom up until this point. And so as you scroll here, just the way it's structured, let me go through that real quick. So there's just some kind of best practices for internet safety. If you have any tech issues with the devices from school, or even a tech question in general, Mr. Fisher would be happy to help you out, and you can let him know your question by emailing help@zcs.org. And then if you go down, for those of you joining us, we're on the central hub right now at zcs.org, and then you can click Distance Learning Hub. If you go down into the Seasaw section, you'll see that there are two different ZCS generated documents about just getting set up and the basics of Seasaw. Those are super helpful. Julie Walters and Morgan Swartz were huge in just helping us get that set. They've been using Seasaw for a while now. And so that's a great place to start if you're just kind of frustrated with Seasaw up until this point. And then Morgan went one step further and made 5 videos kind of demonstrating the different tabs within Seasaw. And so kind of figuring out where the week at a glance is, that's in the blog tab over here. Navigating what's the purpose of the journal, the activities tab, and then kind of finding your kids' work, the different folders using the search feature, and then the inbox, which is more of like a private communication between you and your child's teacher in there. And then I did one, this is an overview of the family app. So with Seasaw, there's class and family or parent, depending on where you're searching. And I just kind of stumbled through this one. Actually, I didn't stumble through it because it's fairly easy. And so even like 10 days in, it was pretty easy to navigate through. So if you're having if you have questions or wanting to get rolling with the family app, that's a great place to start. Then go down further, you'll see Google Classroom. Google Classroom is the platform we're using for our 3rd through 8th grade. I'm gonna look at the questions real quick. Peter, are you live on the hub too, or just explain that? So if I am, I'm on the hub sharing the screen in the Zoom meeting. And so if you are wanting to see what I'm looking at, Julie, can you nod your head if my screen is being shared? Okay, awesome. So in the Zoom meeting, my screen is being shared. So if you're wanting to see what I am looking at, join the Zoom meeting, which the link to that is in the comment section. I see Selena's throwing it everywhere on the Facebook one, and then it's on the bio in Instagram as well. So yeah, so that's just the family support section. You'll see the Google Classrooms help. For parents, the guardian email summaries are awesome. You can get those, I think daily, but I know for sure weekly on just like what work your child has done. There's a third-party guide to Google Classroom, which we found really helpful, just kind of coming at it from a different perspective. And then Emily Slaughterbeek and Chuck Homeray did different videos to help you get set up on there as well. So right now we're on the Distance Learning Hub. If you're just joining us, this is the family support page. Go back here as often as you need to find different, go letting some more people in to find different help. Okay, so let's go through. Actually, well, let's real quick. So if you're looking for the week at a glance, really the hub is the starting point for your day. And what the hub is going to do is it's going to allow you to quickly see the week at a glance or access the learning management system, the platform that your child's class is using. So we got Mrs. A right here, and if you want to see her week at a glance, you would go to the first grade page, click week at a glance, and this is going to come up right here. We're super, super thankful for all the work our teachers have put into these week at a glance. You're going to see assignments. You're going to have all your Zoom links are in here. If there's any YouTube links that the teacher wants you to watch, all of that is going to be right here. So just, yeah. Hopefully super easy and convenient, but that's why we're doing this today, to figure out how it's going. Okay, so Julie, I'm gonna unmute you in the Zoom call. And so feel free to jump in at any point. And then I'm gonna look and see who else is here. Emily's here, thanks for being here, Emily. Carol, I'm gonna unmute you as well. Thanks for being here. So you guys feel free to jump in at any point. Selena, jump in if I'm missing something or kind of going from there. Okay, so first question. Curious if there'd be a way to check assignments in week at a glance. Could you clarify that question a little bit? Or does Julie or Emily, do you understand what's being asked there?
That might be more of a Google Classroom question, but it sounds like parents are wondering, once their assignments have been turned in, if parents can check in the hub to see if teachers have received it. And I'm not sure, unless that would be through a Google Classroom format. Seesaw, I don't think that we've got that set up for that. Although I do know that in Seesaw, teachers and parents can comment on their child's work. So that's a good way that, once teachers have seen it, then we can always add a comment or a like on that too. So.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say for Google Classroom, I don't think that we'll have a place. I'm trying to think of how you would do that, to put an assignment in the week at a glance, because you would want to have it be personalized. And obviously you can't put 18 students' work available to all the parents in your class, that would not be very secure. So what there is set up though is, as a guardian, if you've accepted an invitation to be your child's guardian, you will have the opportunity to get daily announcements about the assignments that are due for the class, and whether, I believe even whether your student turned them in or not.
Okay, awesome. Getting a thumbs up. I like thumbs up.
Good.
And then on social, can you comment if you can hear the Zoom responses? Can you let us know that? And then Selena will let me know that. That would be helpful. Okay, and then if teachers could have their assignments something other than JPEG form, so easier to print. Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, if we could encourage Carol, that would be a good one to write down.
Yeah, I added a note, Peter, too. I thought, you know, as we meet with teachers this week, for sure, we're just making a list of things that's just an easy go-to. I think we can just make sure we share those as a PDF, and you can just go ahead and save it as PDF and share it out as PDF. It's really easy, especially if you are sharing it in Google Classroom or in Seesaw. That's an easy one. So
awesome, good. Yeah, that's great. We had that same issue with our class the other day, so that's a great one. Okay, that was from Selena. Okay, how do we figure out our login info for Seesaw class? Julie, I'm gonna throw this over to you a little bit in just a second. But first, Becky, if you go to the family support page on the website, and maybe you already have, so we'll walk through it a little bit more. But if you go to ZCS and Seesaw getting set up, there is a guide to walk you through. And so Becky, as Julie walks through this, if we don't answer or if there's a specific part of your question that we need to cover, just write that in the chat, okay? But Julie, could you walk us through getting set up in the class app?
Yep, sure. So in the class app, you'll go ahead and you should have received, if your child has been working in Seesaw in the past, they should have a QR code, or there's two different ways that you can do it, through the QR code or through the longer distance learning code. But your child's teacher should be able to share that QR code with you. It will be emailed as a PDF. And then you can go ahead and just download that, and we recommend that parents save that, and you know, they can print, I think it's a 3-page document, but you only really need to print the 3rd page, and it's a QR code. I have students just stick it on the refrigerator, and then if they do need to log out to let another sibling use Seesaw for their account, then you can go ahead and they could just real quickly log back in for that. So we found that the QR code is a real handy way that the parents can do that. So the steps that are on the distance learning Seesaw getting set up page really walks you through each of those steps. So if you do need specific help with that, I'm happy to Zoom with you, you know, one-on-one to do that, and we can just look at your page and help you walk through each of those steps too. So we try and make it really simple for you.
Okay, Becky, if you can comment if that was helpful and that answers your question, that would be great. Sorry for the 4 people I hadn't let into the Zoom meeting yet. You are here now.
Welcome.
Yeah. Also, feel free to comment in the chat on like what's going well, or like tips and things that you have found already that can be shared with other parents as well. Okay, so follow up from Becky. I think that helps. Got us logged into Seesaw on the phone, so we'll just have to dig back and find the QR code to log in to the computer version. Okay, yeah. If you can use the desktop, I do recommend that for Seesaw. It is, you can do it on the phone, obviously, but it is. I think it's really nice on a desktop too. Okay, Trisha, can we still see if things are missing via the parent portal? Trisha, I assume you're referring to assignments. Is that the case? And if that's the case, Emily, can you take that one?
I think so. I'm assuming, Tricia, you're thinking of your middle school students who, because elementary doesn't post that way on Parent Portal. And so honestly, I can't be 100% sure, but I would assume that that would be where the middle school teachers will be posting it, but I don't know for sure. Carol, can you?
Yeah, I can speak to that. Yes, Infinite Campus Parent Portal is still being used. So if you're already set up to get those messages, however, things are not going to be marked as late immediately because we are kind of having kind of a grace perspective on assignments, knowing every family situation is different. So that might be a little bit trickier because you're not gonna necessarily get the same, like it won't, I know as a parent, like I've had emails where it's like, your child has a failing assignment. And I'm like, what? And it's because they forgot to turn it in or it's missing. It's going to be a little different flow because we're not like saying failing assignments, we're extending a grace period. However, the cool thing is we were able to change so that it says missing, but doesn't give the child a 0. If you have a middle schooler, hopefully this is relevant what I'm saying, that there's a middle school parent out here. So yeah, definitely still like tune into your Parent Portal Infinite Campus. That will be updated. So you shouldn't really have to do a lot of babysitting, so to speak, in your child's Google Classroom if you're dialed into the Parent Portal.
Okay, it looked like that was helpful for Tricia, so thank you, Emily and Carol, on that one. If you're joining us on social, I think you're seeing it in the comments, but just in case you're not, I'm sharing my screen in a Zoom meeting. So yes, we are using Facebook, Instagram, and Zoom right now. So,
yeah, this is a first. We're making history.
So this is one for
so
the
great.
books, I think. So all of this is in an effort to make life simpler. So hopefully that's happening. Yeah, and by the way, it's really great to see the names popping up here. I know, I could probably get a little emotional. It's just really good to see your names and some of your faces on Zoom, and hopefully you feel the same. Yeah, it's just a weird season, but we're really trying to just make it as easy as possible for parents to not only help your kids stay connected with their teachers and their classmates, but also to really still advance student learning. We really believe that can still happen during this time. And so thank you. We're going to say it hopefully 100 times, but thank you for the work you're doing as parents in this time. I have a special appreciation being homeschooled growing up, seeing my mom do it for 30 years. I know this isn't like true homeschooling, but it's a lot of similarities. So I know the work you guys are putting in, so thank you so much. Yes, we are recording this Zoom call, and so that will get posted later. And then Deb has a question. If students misses it due to various reasons or need to watch, can Zoom calls be recorded in the classes? I believe they are going to be recorded. We're really working through the secure aspects of Zoom. Zoom has made great strides over the last couple weeks to increase their security. So 2 things on that front. There are passwords for the meeting now. If you don't have the direct link, you have to type in a password. And then really I think what makes it actually secure and prevents the Zoom bombing that you heard, I think that was the term, right? Is that there's this virtual waiting room now. So like for this meeting, I have to admit people who want to join the meeting. So I can check usernames, make sure that the people who are coming in are supposed to be in. And we find that really helpful. Even this morning in our staff devotions, there was a username that Tim at first let in, and then I think somebody pointed out, because I think he just hit like admit all because there was like a ton of people coming in, and then we saw there was kind of a weird username, and so he kicked him out. And so it's just, it seems that Zoom has made great strides over the last couple of weeks, so we feel confident in still using that as a safe platform.
One thing that I can add too, Peter, is that if you know that your child would not be able to attend a particular Zoom meeting, say it's a reading group meeting or something with your teacher, just let your teacher know. I had an email from a parent about that this morning, that there was a conflict, and I said, yep, no problem. I'm just planning to record the Zoom meeting, and then once it uploads, I can send it as a link, as an email, and then you can look at it, or we can share it somehow. We don't want to fill your email inboxes, but we can share it with you, and then you'll be able to view that when it's convenient for your family. So we just want to get that communication out. So
cool. Thank you, Julie.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see. A couple of questions. Printed off Week at a Glance this morning, as we used that as a checklist, and it didn't print off well. Can this be formatted to print? Also, can there be less solid areas that uses a lot of ink? Ooh, that is a good one too. I tried to make it as pretty as possible, so I just want you to appreciate the prettiness of it from my perspective. But yes, we can work on making it more printable for sure, as we don't want you all to have to use a ton of ink. So Carol, if you wouldn't mind writing that down somewhere, that would be really helpful. I really appreciate that.
another thing along with that too is that I know that parents, I've had a couple emails that parents are just being really super creative, and they're making their own document, like that checklist too. So rather than, having the ink issue for yourself, just go ahead and create a checklist. And then I noticed another parent even highlighted some specific things that their child can do independently, and then highlighted or starred some things that these are some things that mom and student will do. So especially if you have multiple kids that you're working with, or younger kids that you have at home too, you can go ahead and have those documents, and that really empowers students too to take that ownership and help them be a little more independent. So that was just a cool idea that a couple parents had shared with me.
All right, let's see. My friend's son sat on the wrong Zoom link and missed the call. Yeah, so that's one thing we hope to avoid now with the Week at a Glance, is having all those links in that document. And so that you have the right link, because it'll be on the correct day, hopefully. So that's the plan there with that. Love the idea for Zoom calls with multiple children needing a computer. Oh, nice. That's a good point. Good point. All right. So yeah, once again, if you're on the social feeds and want to hop on and see the screen, I know, there was a question, I think, from Heather about the endpoint. So this came up in our leadership check-in this morning, and we're going to have an answer on when we're going to be done I think within a week is what we decided. As of right now, we're still planning on our end date that's published. We're not planning anything other than that at this point, but there will be an update on that at least by next Monday, I would think. Not worst case, but I would think maybe the Blue Note next week would be the latest you'd hear from us as far as an end date goes. I saw a question come through on Facebook about, do parents need a Gmail account if our student is in a Google Classroom? Emily, I'm going to toss that one over to you.
Yes, I'm so glad that you asked that question, because I have fielded that from a couple of parents already today. You can only access our Google Classrooms if you are part of the Zeeland Christian community. So you have to have a Google account through Zeeland Christian in order to do that. And so no, as a parent, even if you have a Gmail account, you will not be able to enter into the Google Classroom for your child. However, the great news is your child has access and knows how to do it. So if I were a parent that wanted to see it, I would honestly cuddle up to my child and say, all right, let's go in together. Because as a parent, you can't. It's the way that the Google is set up. Again, like Peter said, to encourage security and safety for students.
Emily, can you say that answer again? Not because that wasn't clear, but I think it's worth just repeating all of that.
Okay.
Like how do parents see, how do students get into Google Classroom, and how do parents see what students are seeing?
So the only way for parents to see a Google Classroom is to access it through their child's ZCSMS.org Google account. If a parent signs up for notifications, I believe then they will have like a daily update of whether assignments have been done, but they will not be able to actually get into Google Classroom unless they're accessing through the student's Gmail account. Is that better?
Yeah, that was, sorry, I got a little distracted at the end there, but it sounded like that was super helpful.
Feel free, that's a great question. Feel free to ask it in a different way or say it again if clarification is needed. But because of safety, we cannot have parents join our Google Classrooms pretending to be students, if that makes sense. Like just because you have a Gmail account, you still can't get in it because of safety and the setup of our school.
Yeah, and I think that's a helpful distinguisher for me with both Google Classroom and Seasaw, is that the parent access is really like kind of you're viewing everything from the top, you're kind of on the outside looking in. And so with the family app, you can go into the journal, but you're just going to see your kids' stuff. And then if you go to the class, when you log into the class app, you're logging in as your child. Mm-hmm. And same thing with Google Classroom. Anytime to get into the actual class where you're going to see assignments, you're going to see the stream, you have to have the student logged in, and the student has been added by the teacher, correct, Emily?
Great. Yeah. Yep, exactly.
But then as parents, you can get an overview on Google Classroom through the summaries that go out, or like Emily said, to log in with your child to see what they're seeing, or log in with their account.
Yeah, you have access to that as a parent. You should know, or you can know your child's password and an email account. So, yep. I would really encourage you as a parent to do it with your child though.
Yeah, and just to build on that, I think if you can think of your child as the expert, it's kind of like you're entering their work world, so to speak. I think it's really empowering if you basically need to ask your kid for help, right? Like, hey, help me get into your Google Classroom. Let's map out, now they might not always be thrilled depending on the mood or time of day or whatnot, but really if you view it as like, it's their world. It's now there's some of the kids where it's newer to are going to need more support than others. For example, I won't expound on that, but take it as an opportunity to build confidence in your child and to be real honest. It goes back to that beginners together, and say, help me. I really want to see how your Google Classroom works. Like, let's figure this out together, but let them, if possible, if this is in your child's kind of competency level, like let them handle the computer, let them lead you through it, right? Like let them take the lead.
Okay, so getting back to the chat, how do parents sign up for those Google notifications? Gretchen, are you referring to the summaries from Google Classroom? I'm gonna answer assuming that's, yeah, okay, awesome. So if you go to the hub and then click on family support, which you can get to family support from any of the grade pages as well at the very bottom. But if you click on family support and then scroll down, this is set up into 4 sections. So internet safety, ZCS, tech help, which will connect you to Mr. Fisher, Seasaw, and then actually there's 5 sections, but then the 4th section is Google Classroom. And then if you go to really any of these 3 will help you get set up on the Guardian email summaries. And then Mr. Comare made a video as well walking you through that process. Nice. And so make sure that you look at those and get that set up. And if you need any additional help with that, start with your child's teacher, and then we can go from there. But I think this is one of the Google, one of the documents from Google. And so this has all 3 of the links right here on this side as well. But Chuck's video is super clear, super simple. And it really starts with the email you should have gotten when you were added as a guardian to the class. So look for that email. Awesome, we're getting a perfect progression. I'll take that. Okay, let me make sure I haven't missed anything in here.
There's another question, Peter. Why do I receive emails from my child's teacher with a Google Classroom email?
Emily, do you know what you're referring to?
I'm not quite sure. I'll try, and then if this isn't what you mean, then follow up. But what will happen is if you are your child's guardian on Google Classroom, we thought it would be advantageous and helpful for parents to receive a weekly or a daily update, whatever you choose. If you don't want to get any emails and your child is independent to take care of the assignments on their own, there is a way to unsubscribe, and that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. I think that was from one of the socials. So Selena, if you can follow up with
let me know.
Then, Rebecca, are you Jeff L? I think you're Jeff L, Rebecca. Awesome. So I'm getting to your question here. If a 5th grader is writing a summary, what's the best way to send it? We've been writing on hard paper and taking a picture and sending, but is there a better mode to send to Google Classroom? So yeah, Emily, maybe just cover different ways to submit assignments to Google Classroom.
Yeah, I would say the first place I would go is talk to the teacher. But I have talked to one of the 5th grade teachers, so I almost wonder if this is a similar conversation, that taking a picture is sometimes very difficult for the teacher to read well what is there, depending on the quality of the picture and how it comes in. So I mean, if you want my personal feeling, I wonder if you just use Google Docs from the beginning and type it. But I think that would have to be something you would want to talk to the classroom teacher about, exactly what they're expecting for writing on a hard paper. Does anybody else have anything to add?
So I guess a follow-up to that would be start with the child's teacher.
Yes.
To see what they prefer. And then I would think that this is coming from a place of all our devices are being used by other people. And so I can't have my child wait for an open device. So I'm just them.
Here, I can explain if you want.
Go for it, Rebecca.
So she's been, originally this was before we're doing this. So phase 1, she had us take pictures of their math homework that they completed and then send it in. So that was one way we were doing it. But then for like reading assignments, they're supposed to read a chapter and write a summary. And I was wondering if Google Docs would be a better form of writing a summary, because then it keeps adding to it, for one, which would be a beautiful thing. And then 2, then it's less sending emails and taking pictures and all that. So I don't know if that's just a teaching thing with the teacher. But I do wonder now with the new math for this new phase, I don't know how that's going to work because we don't have hard copies of the papers anyway. Does that make sense? So it might.
Well, Rebecca, I think you're right on the right track then. If it's an issue of the teacher assigning things that are hard to submit, that's something we'll talk about as teachers. That's a great suggestion to try to encourage teachers to be on Google. Another thought I did have was if you took a picture maybe closer, you could take a couple of pictures of the like of the math sheet, let's say, or something like that.
And I think
and then it would be easier.
I think with Courtney's question that's next about taking the picture too, maybe let her know what worked best for us is I would take the picture and then I would send it as an email to Carter, and then Carter would send it as an email to the teacher. Does that make sense?
That's great.
Because it didn't work as well for me to do it directly. It worked better for him to send it from his email to Google Classroom. So just FYI on those. And then, so do all the kids already know how to use Google Document for adding summaries and stuff like that? They would know how to do that.
Yes, students should be very competent with at least the basics of Google Docs. Yes.
Okay, those were my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca.
Yep. Yeah, I would say if Google Docs is an option, that's usually, I would think that's the go-to for most teachers. Okay, I'm getting a nod from Emily. So yeah, if that's
I think so too. We'll check in though. That's a good thing to talk about as teachers.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so if you're joining on the social at this point, you're seeing in the comments to join the Zoom. I haven't missed anybody right now. So we're doing a screen share in the Zoom meeting just so you can kind of see the hub and go over some of the logistics there. And then if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat in any of the social live streams or in the Zoom meeting. We have eyes on all of that. So feel free to type your questions there. If you hear something that's helpful, that clears something up for you, share that as well in the chat, just so we can kind of tuck that away as the staff, as we are kind of having these conversations. I assume we're going to be having these conversations a lot with parents, just clarifying things, trying to make things as easy as possible. That's the vision for this central hub, is getting it all in one place. Hopefully with the week at a glance, helping you organize the week ahead as easy as possible. None of this is easy, right? I mean, that's what we keep talking about. It's not easy, but we're trying to make it as easy as possible for parents. And so all of this was designed with you in mind. So any feedback you can give us is great as we continue to just improve. And as Carol Moore, our Director of Innovation, wrote in a great blog on our blog, which you can get to on our website as well, called Beginners Together. We're all in this season of like uncharted waters at the same time. So there's a whole lot of things that we're learning really, really fast. And we're trying to go as fast as we can, but trying to do that well at the same time. So I see a couple questions come through. Okay, I didn't sign up for the updates on the email. We got to claim our kids. Is there a way you can sign up for updates? Yes. I think let's see, different age groups. I guess we could go over this for both age groups. And I think I can take this one for Seasaw, because this is one of the things I learned how to do in Seasaw. So if you go to, so what I'm going to do to figure this out is I'm going to go to the hub, which if I go to the main Zealand Christian page, just to walk through this real quick, we added it as the first thing on the menu. So if you're on a desktop or your phone, on your phone, you click menu and then it'll drop down and it's the first thing right there. Click Distance Learning Hub and then scroll down to Family Support. And then Seesaw, I think this one will be in the basics. This might not be though, because this is mainly about the class app. Yeah, this is mainly about the class app. So I know that you can figure this out in the video that I made, but I can show you how to do this real quick. And one of the nice things about both Seesaw and Google Classroom is that it's going to save your login, number one, but the settings are fairly simple. And so this is me logged in. If you're on the Zoom meeting, you can see the screen that I'm on. This is the family app, the desktop version, the website version. And so if you click over here on the top left, and it's top left on devices as well. So if you're on an iPad or a phone, excuse me, it's on the top left as well. I think it's just the initials on devices, but on a desktop, it has my name. And then I think it's in account settings. So we're gonna go there first. Account settings, this is where you can subscribe to the different notifications that you want to get. So you can see you can get by email, you can get push notifications on your phone, you can get text notifications. I had, as I was testing this with Morgan, with Mrs. Schwartz, I had everything turned on, and that got a little overwhelming. And so then I turned most stuff off, and now I get just the parent notifications. And that's been fine. That's just been a couple that come through here or there. But you can get as much or as little as you want in Seesaw as far as like the notifications from parents. So that's how you do it in Seesaw. In both the class app and the parent app, it's top left. All your account settings are top left in there. And then for Google Classroom, trying to move my screen down here so I can see. I think was that Heather DeVries who asked that question? So I think in Google Classrooms, all of the parent summary email, the guardian summary emails, you can find all of that set up here, how to do that on the family support page. And the easiest way to do it is to, or no, you said you didn't do it from the email. So if you can find the email, you can go back to the email to set it up. And then this is the one for teachers though, so that might not be as helpful. Emily, are you logged into, oh wait, I'm logged into a Google Classroom. Let's go to my, this could be a little risky. All right, so if you're in a Google Classroom, I think I'm a student in this one. Carol, am I a student in the middle school teachers one? Hopefully there's nothing on here I shouldn't be sharing. If you go to, so it looks like these three little lines here over on the top left, which would be great. I think it's top left on both. And then settings, boom, there we go. So all of the notifications are on here. And then you can turn them on and off for a class. So it looks like top left in both formats is going to be where your settings are to sign up for and receive notifications. So hopefully that is helpful. Let us know if it wasn't. Let's go back to the hub here. Okay, our kiddos have still really liked the hard copy for assignments with paper to print and sending pictures. Should we contact the teacher if that's what we would like to continue? Yeah, I'm not texting, right? That's good, right? Emily, Carol, like yep. Definitely communicate with the teacher for sure. You know, it's still gonna be up to the teacher, the way that they go about stuff, but
yeah, I just wanted to add the teachers are obviously eager, we're eager to accommodate families that, you know, like Peter said, maybe don't have enough devices to make it very convenient to do it all online. So definitely reach out to the teacher. I don't see a problem with that.
Totally. Okay. And then just real quick, so you can see one of the videos, since I kind of stumbled to find the Guardian email, I'm just going to play this one. Hopefully it'll load pretty quickly. This is the one that Chuck made.
Hello, parents and guardians. This is a quick video on how you can sign up for your email summaries from Google Classroom. So you will receive an email from most likely your child's teacher. Now, this is a little confusing because I'm getting an email from myself, but you click on that email. It says get Google Classroom email summaries, and it will ask you to accept. for your child. I'm saying that Timothy is my child right now. And then it will ask you a question about if this is the email you want to use, and I'm going to accept that. And I'm pretending that Timothy is my child right now, but it will give you this drop-down list of weekly summaries, daily summaries, or no summaries. So you have control over that. So let's say I want daily summaries for Timothy. Now that is all that I have to do. Now you may want to get in the actual classroom and see what your child sees. By all means do that. Sit down next to them, have them sign in, and they can show you around that way as well. Hopefully you find this helpful, and we'll also include a few links that will give you some more details. Thank you so much for watching.
All right, so that's just a quick glimpse at one of the videos. We tried to make them as short and concise as possible so that you can watch them as many times as you need to feel confident. Not just to figure it out, but to feel confident in it as well. I just I forgot a question from Jessica, and this was when we were trying to figure out, I think on Friday, Carol, we had this issue, and Emily, if you can hop in here too, you don't have to have a Gmail to view a Google Doc, correct?
You know what, I've been confused about that too. It looks to me like it might give you a hard time if you don't have a Gmail account. What was your conclusion?
I thought we had concluded that as long as the teacher shares with the email address that you want to access it from, you can still view the doc from any account. I thought that's where we landed on Friday.
Yeah, teachers who had questions about it, we kind of had some email dialogue, and then they ended up coming back and saying, oh, we got it figured out, it worked. And that was like with Hotmail accounts, and I can't remember, there was a few other. So I don't know all the technicalities of it. There have been some situations where parents tried to log in with a different email than what it was shared with. So sometimes that's the problem and then it can still be resolved because the parent then just has to request access, and then it's shared with that new email at that point. So I guess I would just say, if you're having problems, keep communicating with your teacher, because then they will reach out to their tech support, and we'll make sure you get access one way or another. So just keep communicating until it's solved.
Another thing too that I was thinking is that right now I feel like that is a big annoyance potentially, but once it's shared, it's done. Then from here on to the end of the year, you will have access to the document for the week at a glance. So be patient with us over the next, whatever couple of hours or days to try to figure out how we can do that. But once you have the access, it isn't. So I would say, Dozeman's, if it's asking you to sign in, honestly, double check who your account is that you're signed in with. But I would go ahead and just ask for access. I've had several parents ask for access, and as long as I know who they are, that's not a problem.
Yeah, and our fearless leader, Tim McAvoy, swoops in with a great comment. So his wife, April, has a Google account with her Yahoo address. So it looks like the solution is you need a Google account to view Google items, but you can set up a Google account with any email address. Okay, so let me say that again. You need a Google account to view Google Docs, but you can set up a Google account with any email address. Now that's a separate issue from having access to view the docs. I know we're getting confusing right now, because that was a lot. That was really confusing. But if it's asking you to sign in, let's start there. If you're clicking Week at a Glance and it asks you to sign in, you need to create a Google account. You don't need to create a separate Google email address, is what we're gonna we're going to say right now. You don't need to create a separate Gmail email. You just have to create a Google account with whatever email address you prefer. Once it doesn't ask you to sign in, if you click on Week at a Glance and it comes up and says you need access to view this document, then you need to contact your child's teacher and let them know that the email address you prefer is not one of the ones they've shared it with. Because this is one of the security features we're really trying to be overly cautious with. Only people who have children in the class or work at the school can access Week at a Glances. That is the goal of the Week at a Glance, having like the Zoom links and other things in it. That's another level of security we're trying to have in place. And so if it's not shared with you, please extend some grace and some patience, knowing that the goal of that is to keep the Week at a Glances as secure as possible, because we want to include all the Zoom links in there to make it a one-stop shop for everything. So that was a lot. So we'll make note of, we'll put that in kind of the FAQ section about setting up a Google account. Selena or Carol, if you wouldn't mind making a note of that, that would be super helpful. And thank you, just so I can say this publicly, Carol, Emily, Julie Walters was here earlier, Selena, thank you guys so much for taking time to help with this Q&A. And thank you parents for being here. Obviously, like, this is only going to be successful if parents take ownership and go all in on this with us. So thank you. Okay, question. Do parents need a Gmail account if our student is in a Google Classroom? No. I'm going to confidently answer this one similarly to what I just said. You can get daily summaries to any email. So the video that we just showed from Mr. Kamaray, he was in a Gmail account, but when we add you as a guardian to your child in a Google Classroom, you'll get an email to whatever email address your teacher has listed. And so you can then set up email notifications from that request to any email address. I say that with confidence, but Emily, can you back me up on that?
That's what I understand too.
So yeah, so I think the distinction there is helpful. Okay, so I just had to request access and right away our teacher granted it, but my email is a Gmail. It's not a big deal to grab a Gmail account. It's true, it's not a big deal to grab a Gmail account, that is true, but if you're already used to a different email, I get that we don't want that. I don't want to add another email account to your repertoire. That would not be the goal of phase 2, adding increasing ease of use. All right, so from Stacy, I've been able to view it on my computer without an issue. On my phone, I can see it as long as I've signed into a Google account with the same email. So if I have an Outlook account, I can see the page if I have a Google account using my Outlook address. Yeah, so I think that's confirming a little bit of what Tim said earlier. You can create a Google account with any email address. So if you have Outlook, Hotmail, Yahoo, SBC Global, AOL, I don't even know if that's, I don't know. But if you do, you can create a Google account with any of those email addresses, and then you'll be able to access the Week at a Glance. The step 2 of that, though, is if you need to request access to the Week at a Glance, that's a different issue. And so if it comes up when you click Week at a Glance to request access, go ahead and click that, and your child's teacher should be right on that to give you permission. Okay, another follow-up. I still have all notifications to my Hotmail. I essentially only use the Gmail account to sign in for Google stuff. Okay, yeah, so that's another great way to do it. If you just want to kind of keep things separate, you could have the Hotmail for notifications and the Gmail to sign in for all the Google stuff. So that is definitely an option. All right, so happy to stay longer, but we are going to shoot still for that 11 o'clock time frame to be done. So if there are any questions, please submit them now, either in the Zoom chat, on Instagram, in the comments, on Facebook. Looks like Instagram's going to kick me off in 38 seconds. And so if you have any comments, maybe hop over to Facebook, or actually, Selena, can you just restart that one when that ends there? Because we'll still go straight to 11. Sorry, that was really loud. All right, put some tech evidence out there, social media. Yeah, okay, so we will do that as well. We will periodically throughout the day be posting some of the videos that are on the family support page, just to kind of keep it fresh in your mind. If there are, even if you think you know how to do something, just watch the video real quick. Most of them are 1 to 2 minutes. And maybe even as you're watching it, just be thinking about what the next step is in your head. You know, the more confident you are, the lower the stress will be with this. Hopefully the more your kids will connect with it. And I'm just spitballing at this point. I have no idea. That's just what I'm hoping. So I'm going to say it. All right. Chrissy, just jumping on here. So I've missed, can I only access the classrooms via my student's email account? Yes. So for Google Classroom, that's one of our top questions, Chrissy. If you want to see what your student sees, the only way that can happen is to log in with their account or to just sit next to them while they log in. That's for security and just how Google Classroom works. So you can get the summary emails to any email address that you want. But if you want to see what your student sees, you have to log in through their account. Okay, so that's been a common one. So thanks for bringing that back to the forefront. Gretchen, thanks for doing this. It was super helpful. Good, really glad to hear. Really, you know, I mean, it feels like we're not launching a new school, but it kind of feels like that. And so the way I say that from the standpoint of, you know, we had 104 people in devotions this morning, and what I took away from that is there's 104 people wanting to support you as parents. And if you need any help throughout the day at all, contact the person you feel most comfortable contacting who works at the school. Just start there. If you have a number, if you know someone who you can just text real quick, text them and they'll start the process of figuring out how to answer your question. You know, we recommend starting with your child's teacher first. But I mean, like you've probably seen here, there's a lot of questions that we're all still learning a lot of this with you. And so don't feel bad asking any question, ask questions often, and whoever you're most comfortable with. There's a lot of people wanting to support you as parents right now. So I see Carol nodding her head, so hopefully that made sense. All right, can kids get Zoom on their computers? So on Chromebooks, can kids get Zoom? Emily, do you know the answer to that?
I believe, yeah, Ruth, I owe you a text back, but I believe Ross told me, Mr. Fisher told me that it is able to be added as an extension on the Chromebooks. So you'll just have to go into the Chrome web store and download Zoom. And I believe that should work. I have not personally tried it though, so let us know.
Also, I realized I asked Selena to restart the live video, but she is not in my laundry room. So I would have to restart the live video on Instagram. So we are all learning together. There we go. Awesome. That's really funny.
Ruth, if you feel like some of your kids are getting it and some of the Chromebooks are not getting it, that might be one of those things that's worth reaching out to the ZCS Tech Help that I can see right at the top of Peter's page right there. And if there's some, like if it's working for other Chromebooks and it's just not working for one of them, it might be that there's some kind of a quirk with the account.
Yeah, and I wonder if that looks like there's a little bit on Chromebooks here about
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, but
Or
yeah,
talk to the teacher maybe.
yeah, talk to the teacher and then email Mr. Fisher as well.
Yep.
That one. Ruth, was that helpful? Okay, perfect, thanks. Awesome. Okay, any other questions? I'll make sure we go through this.
I did see a shout out for Seasaw that I don't think you read, of a
Okay.
family that's really loving Seasaw. So
Hey, nice. No, I had a fake child in it for a couple of days with Mrs. Sports, and I loved it. So hopefully, with real children, it's even better. Well, it wasn't a fake child. It was my daughter, but you know, she's not in second grade. Anyways. Okay, just scrolling back through here. Yep. So yeah, big takeaways, you know, making it PDFs instead of JPEGs for printing. I see that a couple times. Submitting assignments, whether it's through photographs, taking pictures, or Google Docs. That's a teacher preference one, so make sure you touch base with your teachers on that. If you are having an issue, when you click on Week at a Glance, it asks you, so if we go back to the central hub here, if it asks you to sign in, that means you need to sign into a Google account. That does not mean you need to add a new or create a new email address. It just means you need to create a Google account, and you can create a Google account with any email address. If when you click on the Week at a Glance, it says you need access to view the document, then that is where you need to you click request access, and your teacher will grant you access. So both of those things are for the purposes of keeping the Week at a Glance as secure as possible. Well, the first thing is just Google's way of allowing you to access Google Docs and things like that. But then the second thing is to help keep those Week at a Glance as secure as possible. All right, looks like that's all the questions that have come in so far. We're gonna hop back on at 1 o'clock, and so if anything happens in between now and then, please jump back on and either let us know how something worked or didn't work, or any questions you have. Once again, just so good, like to see all the names that have popped up on Instagram and Facebook. Just, we miss you guys so much. Can't wait till we're back together again. And yeah, just miss you. Hope this goes well. We are here for you. Ask us questions, ask us questions, ask us questions. Carol, Emily, any closing comments? Good? Thumbs up? Awesome. Thank you all. We hope you have a great first day of phase 2, and we'll see some of you again at 1 p.m. Thanks. See ya.